I am Ray Luzier. I am the musician, professional drummer. Some of the people I've played with throughout my career, my first official tour was the Jakey Lee band called Wicked Alliance. Some of you know he played for Ozzy Osbourne. I played with Stephen Pearcy from Rat in a band called Arcade in '95. And then I got the David Lee Roth gig in '97 to '05, 8 years with him. And then I joined the Stone Temple Pilot guys and the Filter singer Richard Patrick for a band called Army of Anyone. And then I joined Korn in October of '07, and I'm currently the drummer. It's been 4.5 years now. A lot of my career, I've been doing a lot of sessions, and I got known in LA to be the guy that can learn a bunch of songs really quick and pull it off. So, and how I started that was just, you know, when I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I would just play to stacks and stacks of records, and I think my memorization skills became very, prominent for these situations. So I encourage everyone to do that. Play along with records, memorize like long 13-piece epic tunes to, Back in Black by AC/DC and everything in between, because it really helps you out. So I would end up getting, even the Korn gig, I was told to learn 6 songs, and I learned 33 just to be prepared. You never know if they're going to ask you extra tunes, and you always want to kind of throw in extra stuff just to somewhat impress them or to show you're knowledgeable and not messing around. You really want that gig. Some of the most challenging and toughest things I have to deal with Korn, you don't just join a band like that. You really got to wrap your head around it and get inside it. So they have a lot of electronics. They have a lot of like 808 patches, and I'm playing to a click, for the songs off the new record. So you really have to embrace what's going on and get inside it and really feel it. And it's challenging at times because you're bending the time with the old school tracks, and then the new stuff you have to play right onto the click. So it's quite a plethora of things. When you're running to tracks and you're playing with a click track, us as drummers, we're essentially timekeepers. Someone's got to drive the ship or drive the car. It's us. When you're playing to a track, especially with the new record Path Of Totality, you have to be right on the click. Everything's live, but all the dubstep stuff is on track, most of it, and you have to be really right on with it, or the train will wreck really quick. So the older school tunes were bending. I can push and pull the choruses, hold certain sections back, but when you're playing to a click, and there's other pre-existing tracks, you have to be right on it. So it takes a lot of time to develop your own time. So don't get frustrated if you're just starting out doing this. It takes a lot of time, just keep at it. I've done some high-profile things, such as I filled in for Stone Temple Pilots a couple shows, and that's a whole nother ball game because, those guys bend, they push and pull. I mean, Robert DeLeo, to me, is the timekeeper in that band. He's so strong in the way he attacks his bass. He was the loudest thing in my in-ear monitor. So that gig was one of the most challenging things. The drumming is not that complicated. It's quite simple, but the simplicity of it is what makes it so complex in my mind. Playing in front of 40,000 people, you have to really adjust and adapt to what's going on. You can't just step in and say, I'm Ray Luzier playing this. No, they don't care that I was back there. They came to see a Stone Temple Pilots show. You have to deliver, But yeah, personally, it's weird, with all my gigs, I've done, disco gigs with a wig on, and I've done stadiums and everything in between it. And personally, I actually like playing the smaller, intimate clubs, like the House of Blues type venues, 2,000-3,000 seaters. It's kind of crazy because it's more intimate. Nothing escapes because there's people all surrounding you, and you can't get away with anything. When you're playing like we did Donington last summer and Rock Am Ring in front of 70,000-80,000 people, you can see the wave, you can visually see the sound wave hitting because people are clapping, and you just see it going back through an ocean of people. So it's just a whole different experience playing in front of a huge crowd than it is a club. But personally, I prefer the smaller, tighter places, When I play live, I have this whole thing where I don't like seeing boring rock drummers. I always envision myself, if I was in the audience, what would I want to see on stage? So if you're in some heavy band and I see this and you're barely tapping everything, but your triggers are making your drums sound like cannons out front, to me, you'll give me a show. I came to see a show. It doesn't mean you have to sit there and twirl your sticks, but show me the energy and the emotion on your face. I want to see it. I want to feel it. So when I play live, I try to show people, look, this is what I'm all about. This is what you know, I'm trying to give you everything I got, like my blood and sweat. So, but in the studio, and it's obviously different because no one's watching you do it. They're listening. It's nothing but audio. So it's quite a difference trying to capture energy and, you know, in the studio compared to live. It's another ball game completely. People see me play with Korn. I mean, my stick is literally almost hitting the back of my back every night, like every stroke. And it looks like I'm killing everything in sight, but I'm actually quite relaxed. I'm actually, you know, you don't want to hit the drum so hard that it chokes. You know, that's a big no-no in this business. Like, and in the studio, you want to definitely let the drum breathe. I mean, you get a nice solid crack on it, but hitting too light doesn't sound that aggressive sometimes. So I like to get that, find that happy medium of like getting a nice good stroke out of it, but you know, not having it too light, not having it too heavy where it chokes the drum. You know, too light sometimes the drum, it rings so much, and then the extra pushes are so loud because of compression. You should play your drums as all one instrument, like all four limbs. You're creating that sound. It's up to you to make. You should be playing like you're not mic'd at all. Like you're in control of how loud that kick drum is, snare drum, tom. Don't think the engineer's going to fix that. You know. A lot of people ask me what's like working with Ross Robinson and someone that really, you know, I'm on 70 plus records and it doesn't really matter with someone like Ross. He doesn't, you know, he's literally, if you listen closely in headphones on Korn 3, Remember Who You Are, you can hear him yelling in the background and shaking cymbal stands, and there's actually crashes he's punching with his fists, and it was an intense, like kind of sometimes really horrid experience for me because he doesn't matter the experience you have, he wants that emotion and angst captured. He doesn't care how many paradiddles you know and how many pataflaflas you're going to put in that fill. He wants that energy and that just like, you know, bitterness coming through your playing. There was times where I was almost walking out of the studio ready to kill him, and I would give him that one last take, and that's the take you hear on the record, and there's all this just like, you know, but every producer's different, and he's very different, so. Some of my favorite records I've ever played on. I'm really proud of the Army of Anyone record just because it's, I was so into that band and the writing, part of the writing process, and just, they're some of my favorite musicians on the planet, you know. Korn 3, Remember Who You Are, it was the first full Korn record when I was in the studio with Mungie, Fieldy, and John, and Ross Robinson. That was a whole nother planet of high right there. And then the last Billy Sheehan record, Holy Cow, it was a great recording experience because we got to go in, and Billy's one of those guys where like he will totally, like, he's such a professional, he works with such top drummers that I was kind of intimidated at first, and because, you know, from Chambers to Bozio to Pat Torpey to, I mean, he's just Virgil Donata, you name it. He's got this list of drummers. You're like, what am I going to do? But he made me feel really relaxed, and he would just, I'd be blowing something, he'd just stop me and go, hey man, could you catch this 30-second no triplet? Like just on the last two, we're going to punch you in on the counts 3 and 4. And I'm like, what? And he would do it, and it was fun, and it wasn't like scary. It was, you know, so I'm actually quite proud of those 2 records I did with Billy, Cosmic Troubadour and Holy Cow too. So, but other than that, a lot of my records, I don't know. It's weird. I'm really weird about listening to my stuff back. But check out the Army of Anyone record. Yeah, any up-and-coming drummers out there, you know, it's a long, crazy road of like of stuff you have to know. So don't just sit in your lab for 6 to 8 hours a day shedding and playing your blast beats. You know, get your grooves together, get your timing together. Learn about the business. Like if there's one thing I wish I would have known in my early 20s was how the music business can really wreck your life. You know, never forget that feeling you had the first time you sat down on a kit and went, this is awesome, this feels great, this is what I want to do the rest of my life, kind of thing. Because the business will squash that. The business will tear your freaking heart out. So never forget like why you sat down and played your drums for the first time. And don't take no for an answer. A lot of people are going to say like, you don't have this together, you don't have this together. But if you have enough passion, enough know-how, and get out there and play, and get seen, get noticed, get to know people in the business, you're going to do well eventually in something, you know. So just keep at it and practice your butt off.